So mga kabanat, narito yung video na sa part ng pagtatanong ni Senador Drilon dito sa kay Lincoln Ong, kung saan na sinabi ni Senador Drilon frustrated daw siya sa mga sagot ni Lincoln Ong dahil nga kahit anong tanong niya ay hindi talaga sumasagot. Daming alibay, daming sinasabi na issue daw ay massive na daw ang investigasyon sa kanila ng BIR patungkol dito sa tax. Kaya hindi nila masagot itong mga tanong. At saka wala rin silang maipakitang dokumento, yung mga warehouse nila, mga shipment nila, yung mga papers nila kung talaga bang na-deliver nila ng tama sa gobyerno itong mga PPS na sinasabi nila, at itong mga dokumento na hinihingi na ng Blue Ribbon Committee ay hindi nila maibigay. Pinagbigyan na sila nakaraan na mag-uusap, pero nung kinalabasan ay hindi pa rin sila nagkasundo at wala pa rin silang naibigay na dokumento. Yung mga ito dapat mga kabanat ay pasintensyahan na talaga na dapat yung mga ganyan kasi hindi naman nakikipagtulungan. Kung talagang legit yung aking business, dapat kasi mahalaga naka-record lahat. Lahat ng ginagawa mo naka-record para may backup ka in case of emergency, in case in the future kung ano mong mangyari. Pero ang ginawa nila, wala. Ano yan? Yun siguro sinasabi nila na verbal lang na transaksyon. Okay na. So, dapat managot din sila talaga mga kabanat. So, narito ang pahayag ni Senador Drilon. Panoorin nyo ito mga kabanat.
Mr. Dargani, in the summary list of purchases of Pharmaceutical Corporation for calendar year 2020, which is an annex to your internal revenue return, you claimed a total of 3,273,158,972.17 as the total list of purchases. That is in the annex attached to your income tax return. Now, Mr. Dargani, of this 3.273 billion in purchases, 98.6% of that, or 3,228,829,668 pesos, were purchased from two companies, Evermore Marketing and Supply Company and Acme Pinnacle Enterprises Company, which, again, I would repeat for emphasis, were listed to have been responsible for 98.6% of the purchases made by Pharmaly in 2020 per your own submission to the BIR. Now, we dug on this. First, these two corporations, Evermore Marketing and Supply Company and Acme Pinnacle Enterprises, filed their articles of incorporation almost at the same time in September of 2019. Now, Mr. Dargani, we checked, and our sergeant at arms tried to serve the subpoena in the address appearing in the records of these two corporations, Evermore Marketing and Acme Pinnacle, which accounted for 98.6% of the purchases made by Pharmaly in calendar year 2020. And Mr. Chairman, the addresses of these two corporations are non-existent. You cannot blame me if I start to doubt the veracity of this entry. It could be, in the absence of their offices being found in the address mentioned, you cannot help but doubt the existence of this corporation. And this is very worrisome because these two corporations constitute 98.6% of the purchases of your company in 2020 as per your filing as an annex of your internal revenue returns for 2020. So, can you help me explain this? Why are these companies no longer existent? And also, the major stockholder, the home address of the major stockholder, a Miss Therese Niedre of Evermore. The home address is in Ugong, Pasig. Our Sergeant at Arms made a return that it does not exist. This bothers me, Mr. Chairman, because if in 2020 per submission or in the BIR, 98.6% of the amount of the purchases were made from what appears to be non-existent companies. That causes us concern. So, for the second time, can you explain this, Mr. Dargani? Why is it that Evermore, which per your Evermore and Acme Pinnacle, what's your own submission, was credited with 98.6% of all your purchases in 2020 would not exist in the addresses given or in the appearing in the articles? Mr. Dargani?
Happy birthday, sir. First of all,
Thank
and
you.
I don't know. I'm not part of that company, so I don't know how to answer that, sir.
Yes, you are not part of that company, but your records appear, in your records, there appears to be purchases from these companies, which constitute almost 100% of all your purchases in 2020. The only thing that is not included there, among others, is a 6.5 million purchase of a Porsche car. Of 6.85 million was included in your annex, in your internal revenue return. And so, can you explain this? Why we could not find this Evermore Marketing and Supply Company and Acme Pinnacle Enterprises in the addresses appearing in their articles?
I'm really sorry, sir. I don't know how to explain that.
You do not know how to explain this. Who made these purchases?
The company made the purchases.
Yes, the company is an artificial juridical person. Who is the person, natural person, who represented the company, formally, in making these purchases?
I really don't remember. All I know is for anything regarding supply, our partner is Lincoln Ong is in charge for the supply chain management, but I don't think or I don't know if he knows them directly or not.
You know, you cannot blame us for raising doubts about the legitimacy of what appears to be purchases. Because you cannot remember the biggest supplier in 2020, which accounted for 98.6% of all your purchases in 2020 per your own reports. You cannot even remember. This is practically, these are the two companies that supplied all the materials. If you are going to look at your total purchases for 2020, you cannot remember who would be this, who would have made this purchase in 2020. First, do you confirm that there was such a sale? Oh, I'm sorry, that there was such a purchase.
Your Honor, maybe our supply chain manager would know.
Who is your supply chain manager?
Mr. Ong.
Oh, Mr. Ong, he is here. Mr. Ong, do you remember this purchase?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Drilon, happy birthday po. Mr. Chairman, as per the advice of our counsel, we shouldn't comment on those issues now because we are under investigation of the BIR, and then Mr. Dargani have a pending petition, and so I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
All right. You're saying that your counsel has advised you, but you have submitted this document as an annex to your income tax return. I repeat, you in your income tax return, you have submitted a list of purchase of Family Pharmaceutical Corporation for calendar year 2020, and the suppliers Evermore Marketing Supply Company and Acme Pinnacle Enterprises constituted 98.6% of all your purchases. All I'm asking is, since this is already part of the record of the BIR, are you disputing that these purchases were made?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I cannot comment on that, especially with regards to the BIR. My apologies, Mr. Chairman.
All right. So, you know, your clear refusal to answer the question gives this committee ground to continuously detain you for refusing to answer a very specific question which has relation to the subject that we are investigating. Next question, why is Tiger Marketing not in the summary list of purchases in 2020?
Mr. Chairman, pagdating sa accounting, I cannot comment, and then I really don't know.
I thought Mr. Targani said you are the ones who would know this.
Well, yes po, Mr. Chairman, alam ko po yung mga sources, mga purchases, but yun lang po.
Anong yun lang po?
Ayun po, alam ko pa yung Tiger Fields, diyan po namin kinuha yung mga stocks.
Okay. Do you know Evermore Marketing?
It's on the record. Yes po.
You know this company. You listed this as one of the suppliers together with Acme Pinnacle for a total purchase of 3,228,879,663 pesos. This appears in your annex, in your tax return. You confirm this, I assume, because this appears to be your submission.
Mr. Chairman, if it's on record, I could confirm, but I cannot comment on that.
Good. Bakit yung pa po pinapatagal? Nasa record na eh. So you confirm. All right. Why is it, okay, continue. Did you withhold taxes, value-added taxes on these purchases?
Mr. Chairman, pagdating sa mga tax, mga accounting po, I cannot comment on that. I really cannot comment on
You
that.
can explain this to us, Mr. Ong. Sabi ni Mr. Dargani, you can explain it.
Well, I can explain pagka kaya ko po talaga, i-explain ko. Pero pag hindi po, wala naman po. Ayun po.
Okay, is it a fact that you did not withhold taxes on the payment of 3,228,879,663 in purchases from Evermore Marketing and Acme Pinnacle Enterprise?
Ayun nga po, Mr. Chairman, pagdating sa mga tax, mga BIR accounting, I really cannot comment on that.
Bakit po?
Kasi we are under investigation of BIR. Tapos,
Yes,
hindi po yung advice po ng lawyer namin eh.
Sige, yun ang advice ng lawyer nyo to
Opo.
refuse to answer any question even if it pertains to the document that you have submitted in support of your income tax return, and we're trying to figure out whether you paid the correct taxes.
I understand your sentiment, Mr. Chairman, but again, matinding investigation po ang ginagawa sa amin ng BIR. Please,
Okay.
but personally and corporately, oh my God, nakatanggap na, ang dami ko na letter na natanggap sa BIR, Mr. Chairman, hindi ko nga masasagot na maayos eh. Kasi nakakulong po ako.
Huwag mo pong sabihin nakakulong ka dahil sinabi mo na sa mga dokumento yan, hawak ninyo. Hanggang ngayon, wala po kayo mapakita sa aming dokumento. Pinayagan kayo. Sabihin nyo lang kung saan yung mga dokumento. At ang aming Sergeant at Arms sinabi, handa silang pumunta roon kung saan man yun at dadalhin sa inyo yung mga boxes of documents para po masagot nyo at ang mga tanong namin tungkol sa pagbayad ng buwis.
Ayun nga po, Mr. Chairman, hindi ko po yung mga, hindi ko po talaga alam yung mga boxes na yan. Ang tagal-tagal na po ako nakakulong dito po sa Senado, Mr. Chairman. Tapos ngayon, nasa kulungan na po ako. Nasa Pasay City Jail na po ako. Ang tagal-tagal na po ako nakakulong. Hindi na ako kilala na anak ko eh. Hindi na nakabisita sa akin.
Sagutin mo lang muna ang tanong po namin, Mr. Ong. Hindi po
Opo,
ba
Mr. Chairman, my apologies.
taon para iharap sa amin yung aming mga dokumento na aming kailangan para tingnan kung kailangan bang baguhin ang ating mga proseso pag-file ng income tax return dahil kagaya po nito, sabi nyo, hindi nyo po maalaala kung kayo kung talaga pong binili nyo ito and you cannot even tell us if value-added tax were withheld, which is an obligation. Sabi nyo sa dokumento yun, ngunit hindi nyo rin maituro sa amin kung saan yung mga dokumento yan.
Mr. Chairman, medyo paulit-ulit na po yung sagot ko. Baka nagagalit na po kayo sa akin. Wala po talaga akong alam sa mga dokumento. Pagdating sa tax, BAR, mga accounting,
Okay.
I really cannot comment. And then, yun din po yung advice eh. And then, I'm not,
Po ang nakakaalam tungkol dito.
well, ano po yung tanong niyo, Mr. Chairman?
Sino po, who can explain to us where these documents are and why and whether or not this purchase really took place? You know why, Mr. Ong? Because if we are not satisfied that the purchases were made from Evermore Marketing and from ACBE, how can you make us believe that you delivered to PSDBM kung yung hindi mo ma-confirm that you purchased supplies? The other thing that makes me wonder, Mr. Ong, is why is it that Tiger Marketing, which you said was the source of your supplies, the name of that company does not appear in your 2020 summary list of purchases? Bakit doon?
Mr. Chairman, to answer the first question, I assure you na deliver po yung mga items dahil po meron po tayong DR at yung mga DR po, yung mga delivery receipt po, naisabit na namin sa komite. Diba? Yung mga DR namin, lahat po yun, may pirma na ng taga PSDBM, which is mahahanap nyo yun agad-agad. As to the second question, again, Tiger Philippines is our one of our supplier. As to pagdating sa mga books, mga FS, Mr. Chairman, yun nga po, I cannot comment on that. Yun po.
Okay, I think our people will share my frustration that in the presence of this clear state or transactions as you have submitted to the BIR, here you are refusing to answer questions because of your alleged lack of knowledge, as these are in the documents that and the documents we have given you every opportunity to produce. In the face of that, I have reason to maintain and propose to the committee that these are fictitious purchases. And if these are fictitious purchases that you made from Evermore and Acme, what merchandise did you sell to PSDBM? Kung hindi nyo po mapatunayan na ito'y may supply kayong binili, ano kung inaibenta nyo sa PSDBM kung wala pong maliwanag na may binili kayong supplies? Hindi po maliit talaga ito. 3,228,899,668. Again, this constitutes 98.6% of your total purchases in 2020 per your own report. And here you are telling us that you cannot explain this, that you don't have access to the documents, etc., etc.
Mr. Chairman, meron po talaga tayong DR na ipapapirma sa mga ahensya. I'm not saying I cannot explain it. I'm just saying that I cannot comment on it, Mr. Chairman. Huwag na po kayo magalit sa akin. Ulit-ulit na po yung sagot ko sa inyo.
Paano naman kayo maniniwala na yung sa inyong PR or delivery receipts, kung wala naman kayong supply, dahilan sa hindi mo masabi kung talagang existing itong mga supplies na binili nyo.
Mr. Chairman, hindi naman po basta-basta pipirmahan yung DR namin pagka wala talagang delivery eh. Ang dami.
Talaga? Hindi basta-basta pipirmahan ang inyong DR kung walang delivery? Bakit nagkaroon ng inspeksyon sa Maynila ng mga purchases na nandun pa sa Tokyo? Hindi pipirmahan sila ng inspection report. Kung ginagawa nila yon, if they can sign inspection reports of merchandise which are not in front of them and certifying that they are in accordance with that the quality is in accordance with the terms and specifications, how much more can we believe, or why should we believe you? Why should we believe you when you say that the deliveries were evidenced by delivery receipts when you cannot even convince us that there was merchandise in the first place because the purchases appear to be fictitious?
Mr. Chairman, as for your example, it's a different company and I cannot really comment on it. As for our company, we follow the procedure, we deliver the goods, we let them sign our DR and then acceptance. We go through the process. Yun lang po talaga yung masasabi ko at sana maniwala po kayo sa amin. Maayos naman po yung mga DR namin, documentation.
Mr. Chairman, I am frustrated and I yield the floor frustrated.
Kung kahit sino siguro ng tao tinatanong mo ganitong mga tao pag sumagot, siguro ano ka rin ma-stress ka rin Wala kang makukuhang impormasyon Issue ay may sasabihin, ayaw nila sabihin dahil labag sa kanilang privacy. Issue ngayon inimbestigahan na sila ng BIR. Napakaraming alibay. So, anong makukuha ang investigasyon ng gobyerno pag ganyan, no? Wala silang makukuha. Kasi puro deny Deny dito, deny doon. Instead na makipagtulungan. So bagay, naintindihan naman kasi natin yan na tila ayun nga sa investigasyon, tila malaking ista yung nasa likod dyan. Kaya, kasi 42 billion nga naman ang pinag-uusapan mga kabanat Hindi biro. Kaya todo talaga yan. Hindi lang million, 42 billion. Napakalaking halaga. Halaga. Dapat makita dyan. Bagamat hindi naman natin sinasabi na yung 42 billion yan, lahat ay ninakaw. Hindi Ilang porsyento lang naman yung nanakaw dyan Pero, hindi na sa atin kasi naintindihan naman natin yung business ay kailangan talaga tumubo. Pero dapat titingnan kung anong klaseng pagtubo. Baka mamaya ay nagsasabuatan nga. Ginawa lang para magkaroon ng pera at na overprice. Kahit kasi ang pagka-overprice minsan kasi depende yan Kung maaring nagsabuatan itong seller at saka buyer, pwede rin niya matatawag na overprice. Bagamat kapag i-audit ng COA yan, hindi nila makikita yan na may overprice kasi sakto yung price na ibinigay ng seller at sa buyer. So wala makikita ang overprice. Yan ang nakikita ko na dapat makikita din na Yan napakahirap. Kasi alam naman natin kung hindi naman tanga yung sa gobyerno na bibili sila ng overpriced tapos bibili sila ng murang halaga tapos ibenta nila ipasok nila sa resibo na overpriced di bistado sila doon. Hindi naman yun ang mga yan mautak ang mga yan professional nga, di ba? So yan lang muna mga kabanat yung comment ko dyan.